Alright, in this one I'm going to show you how you can install your own ethanol content sensor if you have a standalone management. Alright, so I was having some issues with, I had a Innovate ECB1 and I was just having issues with how, because the ECB1 does ethanol content and it does your wideband and it can also do boost. But the thing is, if you have a Haltech Elite like I do, um, you can wire your content sensor directly to it. You can have your manifold pressure going directly to it because it's got an onboard map sensor. And then you can buy they have a wideband that works over CAN bus. So basically, it can all be integrated into that ECU. The only issue is that it can cost more. So I had the Innovate ECB1 when I was running the stock ECU. So this is basically just doesn't do much of anything anymore. Just there for fun. So I went and bought a pigtail for this one just to make it easy on myself. And here's the GM part number that I got. It's a pretty cheap gauge. The main thing that I'd recommend is that when you put um, these adapters, if you use an AN fitting, get the ones that basically there's this little piece, yeah, right here, that screws into this one, and there's a little, what do you call it? There's like a little bump that holds them on. The push-on, clip-on ones can break, and the last thing you want is fuel leaking or spraying all over. So these sensors are super easy, and on the Continental, it's even molded into that. So basically, this is 12 volt. The middle one is ground, and then this on the outside, in my case, is white. That's the wire that's going to go directly to the Haltech. And I just leave mine folded kind of out of the way. So basically what I did was I ran it to basically where I have my sensor grounds, and I used a fuse tap. Whether or not that's the best way to get 12 volts, because the fuse tap has it's already basically on a relay, so I can already send the correct voltage that I need to when the key turns on. And so basically grounded it, and then got the voltage, and then this goes right into, I think, one of the AVI, any one of those. The other thing that I did at the same time was using the wideband over the CAN bus. Like, it's kind of expensive, but in my short experience, it's a great system to have, and I'll show you on the inside. Alright, so excuse the mess just because there's a lot of wires that I don't need, and I had to put this together quickly to get the car back on the road, and then I had to update my software to the NSP and all that crap, so it's been a lot. Anyway, so this comes from the wideband, and these connectors, what do they call them, like the Deutsche connectors, or Deutsch, I don't remember. They are great for having to run them through the firewall, because basically you can go in and just with needle nose pliers pull out this orange piece and then pull all those pins out. So instead of trying to pass a giant connector, you only have to pass a few wires, and it makes things a lot easier. So this is the wideband part, and so it'll go directly into their controller, and this controller is really nice because basically as soon as your ignition comes on, obviously the sensor is going to have power, but the controller, it knows when, since it's connected to the ECU, it's know when the car is running and all that stuff. So it's not like a standalone one. As soon as you turn the key on, you're heating the sensor. So it can reduce the lifespan and all that. So this should allow for not only a way better signal, but longer lifespan to the sensor. So what you end up doing is you have a wire that one of these 4-pin CAN wires that comes out, and it'll actually, I have mine plugged into the harness for the Elite. Otherwise you can plug it directly into the ECU as well. It's just a setting in the software that you have to change so it knows which one it's plugged into, because they both go to the same spot. The nice part about this controller is you basically daisy chain it. So this other plug that I have goes to my CAN gauge. And I'll jump over to the driver's side and I'll show you the CAN gauge setup. So you can see the Haltech CAN gauge that I have in here. And the reason this is really nice is because you saw where I plugged it in. There's only one connector that goes back to here. So, and now when you power them on, yeah, oh, well, it's kind of coming in. But anyway, so I have it set up to do, I have it set up for boost pressure, or sorry, manifold pressure and O2 for like the main one, and then on the other one I have for now air, coolant, and ethanol content. And then this is one of those malfunction indicator light things. So super convenient, because this just connects via an app on your phone. And if you don't, basically this is going to be the next best thing to a digital dash. And this is going to be a lot cheaper than a digital dash, but every single input onto your ECU can be read from this gauge. And you can set up as many pages to scroll through as you want. So if you're doing these setups, I would just plan on getting one of their CAN gauges and doing a real simple wiring job for your ethanol content to go directly into the ECU, which on mine you can see it because I have some, well, it's right where that green light is. So it's in the center console. I actually showed in a different video how I wired it up and put it under the dash here. So that's all for this one. If you're looking to basically do the best and simplest setup, definitely do the CAN gauge and wire everything direct to your ECU. Don't mess around with any sort of other gauges, because it just makes things harder for the tuners, makes things more complicated. Just do it all in one shot.